Today's lunch is sandwich and French fries. Oh, today's a set of my favorites, isn't it? Thanks. Work hard at your job today. I get up at 5 a.m. every morning to make lunch for my husband. I work too, so honestly, it's tough. But my husband always smiles when he takes the lunch and says it's delicious, so the hardship just flies away. But then, one day. Here you go. Today's lunch includes burrito. Wow, thanks. I love this too. As usual, I handed the lunch I made since 5 a.m. to my husband, and he received it with a smile. After he left for work, I went upstairs and gazed out the window, watching him walk to the train station. Suddenly, the situation turned unbelievable. Wait, what? My husband started giving the lunch I made to a neighborhood dog. Why would he do that? Digging deeper into this, an incredible truth came to light. I'm Ava. I'm 28 and work for an event company. Since graduating college, I've focused solely on work. More like, I never had a boyfriend, so there wasn't much else to focus on. But I think I earn a bit more than others my age because of my hard work. Honestly, though, I'd rather have a lower salary and a boyfriend. I'm already 28. It's an age that makes you think about things. And there is someone always laughing at my worries. Thinking about wanting a boyfriend again? A woman's happiness isn't just about marriage. Let's enjoy single life together. I don't think marriage is the only happiness, and I don't intend to deny Bella's views on marriage. But I've always dreamed of being married since I was little. Here comes your usual outburst. Ava, aren't your ideals too high? I do have my ideals, but I don't expect someone to meet all of them. It's always like this, being dismissed as too picky just because I can't get married. It's a bad tradition. I vent such complaints about not being able to get married to Bella, my childhood friend. We've been friends since kindergarten and she lives right across the street from me. I live in my parents' house, but they're currently staying at my grandparents', so it's just me at home. So, Bella often comes over. Today, she came over, and as usual, I unleashed my unreasonable complaints, which she laughed off. But this time, it was different. If you're that keen on getting married, wanna go husband hunting at next week's gathering? Even if you say husband hunting, it's just a local gathering. It'll be full of familiar faces, and many are already married. It's not really for finding a husband. You just want to drink with everyone and are dragging me along, right? Exactly. Come on, let's go. I really want to go. Bella, sitting on the sofa, hugged me from the side, squirming in a slightly annoying way. Whenever Bella wants something from me and I hesitate, she always does this. If I leave her, she'll stay hugging me, so I have no choice but to agree. All right, I'll go. Now get off. Yay! If Ava doesn't find a husband, I'll marry you. Yeah. I pushed my childhood friend Bella's head away and detached myself from her. Despite the rough treatment, she was laughing happily. Seeing her expression made me laugh too. I caved into Bella's persistence and decided to attend the local gathering. The purpose was supposedly to find a husband, but I knew it would be full of familiar faces, so I wasn't expecting any real encounters. That's why I didn't put much effort into getting ready and headed to the pub, which was the venue. Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. As I entered the pub, Bella immediately dived into the circle of friends who had already gathered. I followed behind her and sat next to Bella. I'm not much of a talker, so it's easier to be near Bella who's always chatting. As I automatically took my usual spot next to Bella, I was approached by a man sitting on my right. Hey, isn't that Ava? Theo? I thought it was just the usual locals who stayed around the area attending, so I didn't realize there were some unfamiliar faces mixed in until then. Seeing someone I never expected to be there, I blinked several times to make sure I wasn't seeing things. The man next to me was undoubtedly Theo, my first crush from school. I liked him from the 5th grade until we graduated middle school but never confessed because I was too shy. Our paths separated in high school, and that was the end of my first love. A typical first love story. But here I was, bumping into my first love as an adult. Something I'd only seen in dramas and always scoffed at, yet now I was living it. I mentally apologized to all those drama scriptwriters I had laughed at. It's rare to see you here. I've lived relatively close by, always meant to come. But my girlfriend was a bit clingy. Looks like it wasn't going to be a drama-like encounter after all. Within 3 seconds of starting the conversation, I learned he had a girlfriend. I felt like demanding an apology from the scriptwriters I had just mentally apologized to. I really got my hopes up for nothing. Just when I thought so, a glimmer of hope appeared. Really? Are you okay today? Actually, I've been living with my girlfriend, but we decided to break up, so I thought I'd come back here. Oh, I see. Here I am, grateful again. Talk about a complete turnaround. Just when I thought I could talk to him without worrying about his girlfriend, an interruption came, as expected. What? Theo, you're breaking up with her? Seriously? You guys seem so close. Wasn't it about a year ago we last met? I thought you might be getting married soon. Well, you know, things happen. Suddenly, the conversation was hijacked, and I felt frustrated, not knowing how to rejoin the men's chat, just waiting for a break in their conversation. My emotions were all over the place with this unexpected reunion with my first love. Bella, noticing my predicament, didn't miss her chance. So, Theo, you're coming back to town. If you're single, you must have some free time, right? Hang out with Ava. She's been all about work, so she's got some money. Do you have to put it like that? Don't be shy. It's your first love, after all. I'm returning to my hometown after a long time, so it'd be nice to reconnect with local friends. Well, everyone's pretty tied up with marriage and stuff, so I'll take on that role. Under the table, where no one could see, my childhood friend Bella poked my thigh with her finger. Probably signaling her thanks for the nice assist. Later, I got a call from Theo, my first love, and surprisingly, our romance progressed smoothly. In just a month, we started dating. I thought if things kept going well, I might marry my first love by the time I turned 30. Theo seemed to consider marriage too, but he had a reason for hesitating. I work in different factories as a temp worker, so I make way less than you, Ava. I'm worried I'd just be a burden if we got married. But you're managing to live on your own, right? Yeah, by myself. As long as you're not drowning in debt or anything, I don't see a problem. You work hard, oh Theo, so don't worry about it. Theo was concerned about earning less than me. But I believed as long as we could live comfortably with our combined income, it wasn't an issue. After sharing my thoughts, Theo proposed to me. It was a whirlwind romance, just 6 months after we started dating. Some might say it's better to know more about your partner before marrying. I thought so too, but Theo's honesty about his financial worries was what convinced me. It's not easy for a man to admit something like that. And his openness made me see his seriousness about marriage. A year after reuniting with my first love, I got married. Ava finally got married. She's not just mine anymore. Since when was I yours, Bella? Though I was married, life at home was the same as always, with Bella around. She lounged on the sofa while I folded laundry. I had been living alone in my parents' house, so after getting married, Theo started living with me. Our house became a love nest for newlyweds. However, since Theo usually had weekends off and Bella and I had weekdays off, Bella would still come over from her house just across the street whenever Theo wasn't home. So, even after getting married, life with Bella didn't change much. It was just like adding Theo into the mix. I didn't realize that this unchanged routine was already heading towards chaos. 6 months into the marriage, Bella was at our house as usual. Theo doesn't like dogs, right? Yeah, but why? He always takes the turn at the corner of our house to go to the station, right? I see him every morning, avoiding a dog walking its way. He freezes, sticking to the wall. And if he sees me coming out, he'll wait until I'm gone, even though that street is quite long. Don't laugh at him for being afraid of dogs. That's Gone, the Labrador, right? He's big, and the street is narrow. It's understandable. If Theo took a detour, it'd make his trip to the station much longer. Although Bella sometimes treats me like a toy, it seems like my husband has become a good toy for her too. Gone never barks or jumps at people though. But why don't you at least try to adjust timing a bit for Theo? That's why I've been letting Gone out in the yard first these days, waiting for Theo to pass by before I take Gone for a walk. I think one shouldn't laugh at people who are afraid of dogs. But since it was about someone close to me, I couldn't help but join Bella in laughing. The next day. Today's lunch is sandwich and French fries. Oh, my favorite combo today, thanks. Work hard at your job today. Feeling guilty for laughing about the dog, I decided to make Theo's favorite for today's lunch. Making lunch is my daily task. Theo leaves for the factory early, around 6 a.m. So, I prepare a bit the night before and wake up at 5 a.m. every morning to make lunch for both of us and Theo. I work too, so waking up at 5 a.m. every morning is honestly tough. But this was something I insisted on when we got married. I'll mainly handle the household chores. Why? Shouldn't we work together on them? I earn way less than you, so let me at least do this much. I keep telling you, you don't need to worry about that. But I do worry about it. I thought it was a trivial matter, but Theo looked serious. Everyone has different perspectives. What seems small to me might be important to him. All right. But on my days off, I'll do the chores. And I don't want to never cook. So let me make the lunches every morning. My mornings start early, you know? Making lunch is tough. I know, but I don't like the idea of leaving almost all the housework to you. You shouldn't worry about that. But I do. Cooking dinner for my husband every day was one of my dreams of marriage. Since Theo wanted to do that, I decided to make the lunches. Theo always accepts my lunches with a smile, eats everything without leaving a trace, and tells me every day that it was delicious. I was worried about whether I, with almost no dating experience, could handle married life, but so far, our half-year of marriage has been smooth. I thought this harmony would continue, but suddenly, I found myself gripped by an unexpected anxiety. One day, when I returned from work, I noticed, the door's unlocked. Theo must have forgotten to lock it. To teach him a lesson about the dangers of forgetting to lock the door, I decided to sneak in and surprise him. If this were a burglar, it could be life-threatening. I needed to make him understand the importance of this. Not just a prank. Grinning, I headed towards the living room where Theo was. Approaching the living room, I heard Theo talking on the phone. Sorry, Sophia. We couldn't align our schedules. Is the money still okay? I can't do a transfer, right? It would leave a record. Hearing his words filled me with an indescribable anxiety. After a few seconds of hesitation, I decided to quietly back out of the house unnoticed. And re-enter, making it seem like I was just getting home. I'm home. I announced a bit louder than usual, making sure Theo could hear me from the entrance. Welcome back. I heard his voice from the living room. If Theo was hiding something from me, I needed to investigate. For that, it was better to act as if I hadn't heard his phone conversation. I'm hungry. What's for dinner? I forced a slightly strained smile at Theo. After dinner, while Theo was washing the dishes, I decided to check the household bank book, which was kept in the bedroom. Since getting married, I had left the management of finances to Theo. So I hadn't checked the bank book in the last 6 months. Trying to suppress my anxiety, I opened the shelf where the bank book was supposed to be. But it wasn't there. Theo must have changed its location. I looked around nearby but couldn't find it. Hey, aren't you going to take a bath? I'm about to get in now. I was called from the living room by Theo. I was rummaging around, and getting caught would only make him more likely to hide the bank book, so I decided to cut my search short and go take a bath. The other day, Gon collapsed and started convulsing. Really? Is he okay now? He's fine now, but it was a close call. At the vet, considering the various symptoms, they asked if he's been fed human food. But I would never do that, ridiculous, right? Bella was over at the house again. She seemed a bit irritated because her dog wasn't feeling well. I felt bad bringing it up at such a time, but I had to ask Bella about the phone conversation I overheard Theo having. Theo was talking about giving someone money, and I can't find the bank book. What do you think? First thing, you should just check the bank book. That's just it, I can't find it. You can check it online, right? Oh, right. I was too anxious to think clearly. Even without the bank book, I could check the balance and history online. I hurried to open the computer in the living room. Does it look like the money's okay? Bella, staying on the sofa and not looking at the computer screen, asked me over my shoulder. Looks like $2,000 is being withdrawn every month. So, he might be giving that money to someone named Sophia? I twisted around in my chair at the computer desk to face Bella, sitting on the sofa. It seemed like she also thought Theo might be having an affair and financially supporting the other woman. I could tell from her expression, after knowing her for so long. But neither of us said it out loud. It was all speculation, with no proof. The only fact was that Theo was withdrawing $2,000 a month for reasons unrelated to our household expenses. There wasn't much more Bella and I, neither detectives nor cops, could do. We can't really tell anything from this alone. But since there's a possibility that Theo is up to no good, we can't just ask him directly. Right. He'll probably just try to cover it up and hide the evidence. Who could Sophia be? Wait, Sophia? Do you recognize the name? No, I just thought it sounded familiar, but it's a common name, so that's to be expected. Our discussion ended there, at an impasse. Until the end, I didn't bring up the possibility of an affair. Maybe deep down, I still want to believe in Theo. Or maybe I just want to believe. Here you go. Today's lunch has burrito. Wow, thanks. I love this. As usual, I handed the lunch I made since 5 a.m. to Theo, and he received it with a smile. However, my smile was forced, unlike usual. Also, I usually start getting ready for work after seeing Theo off, but today is my day off, so there's no rush. After Theo left the house, I went upstairs and watched him walk towards the station from the window, lost in thought. Looking out the window, I saw Theo passing by Bella's house. In the yard, Gon, the dog, was waiting for Theo to pass by, walking in circles as if he was put on hold for a walk. I watched curiously as Gon suddenly noticed Theo and ran up to him. I thought maybe Theo had overcome his fear of dogs and was now friends with Gon. But as Gon approached, Theo got scared and cowered. His pathetic figure made me feel like I was watching a silent comedy movie, and I couldn't help but laugh. However, the next moment turned serious. Theo opened the lunchbox I had just given him and started throwing its contents through a gap in the fence into the yard. After a couple of tosses, the lunchbox was empty, and he nonchalantly continued on his way to the station. The whole incident barely took 3 seconds. Wait, what? I was stunned by what I saw. Realizing I couldn't just stand there, I hurriedly called Bella. What's up so early in the morning? Stop, Gon! He's at the edge of the yard! Today's lunch included burrito. It has onions, and they're harmful to dogs, potentially causing poisoning. Bella, still with her phone to her ear, rushed out to the yard. Seeing Gon eating something, she opened his mouth and used her fingers to remove the contents. After confirming that Bella had reached Gon, I headed down to join her. Thankfully, Gon was taken to the vet and turned out to be fine. Bella came to my house after returning from the vet, her usual brightness gone. Is it true? Theo was feeding Gon lunch? I saw it clearly, so there's no doubt. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Ava. But to think it was Theo giving human food to Gon. Could this be related to Sophia? Food? Sophia? Oh! Did you realize something? I remembered someone mentioning the name Sophia. It's still speculation, but if our hunch is right, I can never forgive Theo or this Sophia person. Bella and I decided to corner these two. The day after discovering Theo feeding my homemade lunch to the dog. Here, your lunch. What's inside is a surprise. Something special today? Thanks, looking forward to it. I handed the lunch I made early in the morning to Theo with a smile, and he accepted it with a grin. But unlike usual, I called Bella as soon as Theo left. I watched from the second floor window as Theo, with practiced ease, opened the lunchbox and, while cowering from the approaching Gon, threw its contents into the yard without looking. He seemed uneasy, fearfully checking what he had thrown. From afar, I laughed again at his sight. I had put wet dog food in his lunchbox, safe for Gon to eat. Theo must have been shocked to find dog food in his lunchbox. And Bella, who had been hiding around the corner, slowly approached the bewildered Theo. From above, it was obvious, but Theo, still oblivious to Bella's presence and fixated on the dog food, looked quite comical. When Bella finally spoke to him, Theo jumped in surprise, clearly startled. Although I wanted to watch Theo's amusing reaction for longer, Bella's approach meant I had to go down too. So you've been the one feeding Gon human food? You can't say you didn't know some foods are dangerous for dogs. Eh? Really? I didn't know. I was just trying to get along with Gon to overcome my fear of dogs. When I arrived at the scene, Theo was making awkward excuses. Ava, you're here. Tell Bella, I know it's wrong to feed Gon without asking, but she's freaking out over it. Well, of course she is. You were giving food that's poisonous to dogs. What are you even saying now? You were checking with your mistress what foods are poisonous to dogs, right? We know everything, Theo. About your affair and that you're giving her money every month. What? That's a leap. What are you talking about? I heard you on the phone with someone named Sophia, talking about money. When I checked the bank book, $2,000 was being withdrawn every month. You're giving that to Sophia, aren't you? Eh? Oh, the phone call. And the bank book? Sophia is just a friend, and I did give her money, but it was just lending her $100. And $2,000? That's because living costs have skyrocketed recently. It's more expensive than you think. Theo was stammering, trying to come up with plausible excuses. With our sudden jump from the dog food issue to the affair, he probably thought we didn't have solid proof. But he was mistaken. Can you say the same thing after seeing this? I pulled out my smartphone and showed him a video. I am having an affair with Theo. No, it's not really an affair. We've been involved since before he was married. Theo was speechless after seeing the video, looking like a silent movie actor. The video continued with more shocking revelations from a person named Sophia. So? Are you going to keep denying it after seeing this? Why would Sophia? Theo, betrayed by his mistress, just slumped down where he stood. Gon, startled by the sound of Theo's work bag hitting the ground, started barking, so Bella calmed him from the other side of the fence. Since Bella looked busy, I continued to confront Theo. I filmed that with Bella yesterday. How did you find out about Sophia? I remembered what a friend said at our first meeting, about meeting one of your ex-girlfriends named Sophia. So, I called that friend and found out your friend hung out with Sophia 1 or 2 years ago and even went to the house you two shared. That's how I got the address. Yesterday, Bella and I thought it would be easy to catch Theo feeding lunch to Gon. But if the real reason he was throwing away my lunch was because he had someone else he preferred so he didn't want to eat it, catching him with the lunch might tip him off that we were onto his affair. He could hide it and escape, and there was a risk of him continuing to take money. It might be an overreach, but pursuing the lunch and affair issues simultaneously seemed best. So, we contacted our friend from the meeting, explained the situation, and got the address of the apartment Theo shared with his mistress. Also, as my husband had mentioned during the gathering, the address wasn't too far away, so Bella and I decided to go check out the mistress's place for ourselves. Here's the address we got. An old-looking apartment. Hey, do you hear a baby crying? Really? From this apartment? Aren't the neighbors complaining? Despite our doubts, Bella and I discussed our next move. What do? We don't have proof, but should we confront them? Of course. Otherwise, Theo will just feed Gon the lunch again tomorrow. That's easily solved by not letting Gon out. But putting this off won't help anything. Alright, leave the bluffing to me. In situations like this, it's better for me to step back and let the more eloquent Bella handle it. If his mistress finds out we have no proof of the affair, we can drop that line and just deal with the lunch issue. As we stood in front of the mistress's apartment, we could hear a baby crying inside. It seemed the baby was in the mistress's apartment. Though we were determined, I felt a bit anxious as I pressed the intercom with force. Hello, who is it? We have something important to discuss. Could you open the door? The mistress seemed confused and hesitant, responding to Bella's somewhat intimidating tone. It's understandable, being suddenly approached by strangers demanding to open the door. Bella continued speaking to the uncertain mistress. Are you Sophia, right? Should I say I'm here with Ava, Theo's wife, to get her to open the door? After Bella's suggestion, a few seconds of silence passed before we heard the sound of a lock turning and the door creaking open. A woman, slightly younger than us, appeared. Are you Ava? I'm a friend, and this is Ava. The fact that Ava's here means no explanation is needed, right? The mistress lowered her gaze to the ground and fell silent again. Unperturbed, Bella continued in a firm tone. We came to settle things with you. We know you've been receiving money from Theo. Just admit it and tell us everything. Bella's words made it sound like we had irrefutable evidence and that she should just confess. It's something I couldn't do myself, and I was really relying on her. The mistress seemed torn between admitting or denying the affair. But we didn't have concrete evidence, so Bella couldn't make the final push. Then I decided to step in. If you cooperate with us, I promise I won't sue you for damages for the affair. The mistress, who had been looking down the whole time, finally raised her head at my words. Considering she was receiving money from Theo and living in an old apartment with a baby, I guessed she was financially struggling, so I offered not to sue her for damages. I proposed this deal because our real anger was towards Theo, but also because something about the mistress's situation seemed off. I'll tell you everything. It seemed like a good deal to her, and perhaps she also felt guilty towards me. Sophia, just to confirm, you're having an affair with Theo, right? I'm involved with Theo. No, it's not really an affair. We've been together since before he got married. What do you mean? You might hear crying. I have a child. It's Theo's. We were happy about the pregnancy, but neither of us had a steady income and had no one to turn to. We couldn't afford to raise a child. So, Theo decided to marry someone else for money? Yes. I was against it, but he started acting on his own, using dating apps and reaching out to women he knew. So him showing up at the local gathering and proposing to me within 6 months was because the baby was coming, and he needed money quickly. I remembered the gathering and felt a heaviness in my head. At the gathering, Theo learned that I was his first love, earned slightly more than others my age, and was looking for a relationship. Sorry. It's my fault, isn't it? Bella, who had shared this information, seemed to realize her role. She gave a wry smile. Of course, I didn't blame her, the fault lay with Theo. Really sorry. I'll return the $12,000 Theo brought over these 6 months. The mistress apologized so deeply I felt sorry a bit for her. She was complicit with Theo, but hearing the baby cry, I couldn't bring myself to blame her. It's okay. We'll make sure Theo takes full responsibility. Even after I spoke, the mistress didn't raise her head for a while. She must have struggled with taking money from Theo. This conversation with the mistress was, of course, recorded on video. The video I'm showing Theo right now is exactly that. The mistress's candid admissions continued to play. Theo seemed to shrink with each word she said. But the real bombshell was at the end of the video. Oh, right. Sophia, one more thing. Theo recently started feeding lunch to Bella's dog. Do you know anything about that? Please don't get angry. Theo said your food wasn't very tasty, so he took over the household chores. But he was given lunch every day, which he secretly threw away at work. He thought it was wasteful to throw away food, so when he saw the dog in the yard, he started feeding it. He's afraid of dogs, so it was like killing two birds with one stone. He didn't waste food, and the dog kept its distance if it ate the food. I felt something inside me snap at the mistress's words. And Bella seemed to feel the same. However, since the mistress asked us not to get angry, I smiled and endured. But today, there was no need for patience. Hearing the infuriating words again in the video, we both felt a crackling tension within. So my lunch wasn't tasty enough, so you threw it away. You put Gon in danger just because you're afraid of dogs. You're never coming back to this house. Gon! Go get him! On Bella's cue, Gon started barking at Theo. But since the dog was in the yard, it was only through the fence. Yet, for Theo, who is afraid of dogs, Gon seemed like open hostility with an intensity as if it would jump out of the yard any moment, made him hastily flee from the scene. I told him never to return home, so he probably won't come back. Watching Theo being chased off by Gon, Bella and I couldn't help but laugh. Naturally, Theo and I got divorced after that. Initially, we had no proof of the affair, but the mistress provided us with incriminating photos and messages. I thought it might be a case of marriage fraud, but it seems that's hard to prove even if the marriage was for money. So, Theo's actions were ultimately framed as having an affair and financially supporting the mistress. As promised, I only demanded alimony from Theo, not the mistress. She offered to return the $12,000 she received over the 6 months of our marriage, but since I asked Theo for $40,000, including her amount, I told her no repayment was needed. I wanted her and Theo to focus on raising their child together. However, following our confrontation, the mistress decided to break up with Theo. Thus, Theo was left with paying not just the alimony to me but also child support. For Theo, a temp worker with low income, this was already a severe blow, but it didn't end there. He knowingly fed food that was poisonous to dogs to Bella's pet, putting its life in danger. As a result, Bella filed a police report. Theo was charged with animal endangerment, adding a criminal record to his troubles. I wondered why it was called animal endangerment for a dog, but apparently, that's the law. Now, with little income, substantial payments to make, abandoned by both his wife and mistress, and a criminal record to boot, Theo was left utterly alone. Bella and I felt satisfied seeing him face this hell. I regretted rushing into marriage. And decided to leave my next relationship to fate, returning to a life focused solely on work.